Now, the modulator effects are based on some part of the tone changing over time. Probably the simplest example would be a volume swell with your little finger on the volume knob of a Strat. You're bringing the volume up and down with a movement of your finger. The volume is the parameter being modulated, and the modulator is your finger right here. Now, a wah-wah pedal could be argued that it's a modulator effect. I know it's a filter effect as well. But basically, a wah-wah boosts a narrow band of frequencies and sweeps that up and down the frequency spectrum. The boosted frequencies are being modulated, and your foot sweeps that up and down, and soon you're singing the theme from Shaft. And I won't do that. That was probably probably the first time I ever heard a wah was probably White Room by Cream. Great song. So the main modulation effects are chorus, flanger, phases, tremolo, vibrato, ring modulator, Leslie effects like rotating speaker effects and wah-wah. We'll hear them, but here's how they kind of work one by one. A chorus places a very short delay around 20 or 60, between 20 and 60 milliseconds, and sweeps that delay time back and forth. A flanger does the same thing, but with a very short delay, usually under 10 milliseconds, and then adds feedback to add a kind of a tail to that sound, sometimes called jet flanging. A phaser splits the signal and sweeps the phase of that resulting signal, resulting in notch or comb filtering to give you a very unique sound. Tremolo modulates the volume. Vibrato modulates the pitch, though in truth there are very few true vibrato units out there. They're normally really tremolo. A ring modulator modulates the carrier signal, that's your guitar, with a modulation signal, and then outputs the sum and difference. We'll hear examples of these. But then a Leslie effect basically models what happens when you run your guitar through a rotating speaker cabinet and play off what happens when you hear kind of an ambulance siren moving towards you and away from you in that Doppler effect. You get cyclic changes in pitch. And wah-wah sweeps through a narrow boost of frequency, a narrow band of boosted frequency up and down this frequency spectrum with the rock of your foot. Now, enough theory. Let's see all these guys in action.
Okay, so we're going to start with our modulation stuff. We're going to start with the flanger in modulation, and a very artistic tool indeed. Eddie Van Halen really used his flanger to the nth, and used it in, for a two-note phrase on a signature, or to just completely, overtake a section of a song. Or if you know what flanging sounds like, you can pick it out on many different records. It can be used in a lot of cases away from just guitar. They use it in big mixes and things like that. But anyway, I will start with my guitar clean again, so you can have an acclimation of it unaffected, and then we'll put in a real mild effect of flanging first. So here you go. This is just guitar. I know Robin Trower used a real mild flanger, like what we're doing there in the In City Dreams record. And I'll give you a sample of that just to show you that it can be used. There's a speed, so it's going to tell you how fast that it's going to sweep through the parameters that you've set. And then it has a depth, so it has a high to the peak, and it has a low to the peak. And then your speed is what tells it to reach the high and the low faster or slower. And then the regeneration kind of works as how much of that effect that you want to dramatize. So in this scenario, I have the regeneration turned down, and this is from a somewhat of a setting like he would have used. Robin Trower used Electric Mistress, as a matter of fact, back in the day. This is kind of a close example of that. That would have been his signature phrase that he started out with. And then he changed his flanger, or he likely used a couple, I'm pretty sure. And then the regeneration was set quite higher. So the next example out of that song, that same song, is him just playing an E chord. So this is what it sounds like when you have regeneration, and your depth, or width can also be called. The width of how far that the low goes and how high that the peak goes. So here's just a strummed chord so you can kind of hear how that would react. So I'm going to decrease the regeneration on this manually so that you can see what that effect actually does.